Hi everybody and welcome to Cut the Kibble. Today I wanted to do a video on how to choose in the store how to buy bone broth. I was just so delighted to get so many responses for my recipe that I put on YouTube and in my newsletter, how to make homemade bone broth. But I know there are those of you out there that can't do it or don't have the time to make it. So I wanted to go to the store with you virtually and show you what not to get. And at the end of this video, I will show you my recommendation of what bone broth to get. Now, if you're more of a, you want to read something, I have a newsletter and I will put the link of the newsletter in comments. You could subscribe to my newsletter and I try to do it weekly, but you know, I do all of this for free. I would love to, if I could get some money. I just spent an hour researching bone broth. But you know, Belle and I don't have much to do, so we do that. Anyway, what was I saying? You could subscribe to my newsletter and I try once a week, if time permits, to post articles of interest for dog owners, specifically on food, and I do post videos. I do post recipes. I have 3 on in my newsletter, and I'll be putting another one up pretty soon. So let's get started. And actually, I'm going to turn the camera to my iPad because I just finished the newsletter and it has all the pictures on there. So it'll be better if I could just show you the pictures. So hold on. So we're going to go to the pet food store virtually in a few minutes. But the other day I was at Aldi, which is not a pet food store, and I came across this bone broth and I was very attracted to the front of it. So let's look at it. Again, this is from my newsletter, so that's why I'm going to have to scroll through it. Now, I was attracted to this because Simply Nature is a brand that I respect. And let's look at all these buzzwords. Organic, it has the stamp of USDA organic. It says non-GMO. That all looks fantastic. And then it says made from organically raised cattle and fat-free. All just looks just incredible. And it has that beautiful, beautiful color of the bone broth that I actually have when I make bone broth. So it looks great, right? But I always tell you to turn the package around and read the ingredients. And I apologize for this bad picture, but I was in the store. I didn't bring a cart with me and I had all these items in my left hand. So what I do not like about this is that it has caramel coloring. Now don't be thrown by the organic. Organic or non-organic, caramel coloring is a no. It's a known possible cancer-causing additive. You can go to my newsletter and read more about it, but I wanted to warn you, for you, when you buy products, caramel coloring is to make color, right? It's in a lot of soft drinks. If you drink soft drinks, I don't drink soft drinks. It's in a lot of cold cuts, like if you buy turkey, because they want to get it that brown color, you know. And it's in like Costco rotisserie chickens and all rotisserie chickens to get it that color. So you've got to read the ingredients. You don't want to ingest that into your body or your dog's body. And again, in my newsletter, I go through more detail. So now we're going to go over to Chewy.com and review 3 of their bone broths. And I want to say thank you to my actually real friend, not virtual friend, Marina. I was talking to her the other night. She saw my TikTok where I made my bone broth, and she texted me and she said, oh, I do bone broth too. I buy Brutus bone broth. So I went online to review Brutus bone broth because I just love looking at ingredients. And I called her up and I said, you know, this is no good. And I explained to her why. And I am so elated because she went and online and bought bones from where I buy bones. And she's getting ready to make bone broth in a few days this weekend. So it just excites me that she's doing that, and I'm excited because she's excited. So let's review Brutus Bone Broth and 2 others from Chewy. And don't forget, at the end, I'm going to tell you a good one to buy. Okay, so here's Brutus Bone Broth. It says it's made for dogs, which is important because that means that it has to meet AAFCO's requirements. And it's 100% natural, no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. And I can't even read what that says. But we're going to go now and look at the ingredients because you always want to turn it around. So here's the ingredients. And I want you to note throughout all of these, the bone broth, none of these are going to say made with filtered water. And you want filtered water because water out of the top has excessive chlorine and chemicals that are cancer causing and just not good for your dog or for you. But let's look at the ingredients. Sweet potato, carrot, celery, fine. And then it has sea salt. Now, the thing about the sea salt, AAFCO, which is like a regulator for dog food, which they give the minimal regulations, requirements. I don't think much at all for AAFCO, but they say that salt cannot be more than 1% of what's in the product. And everything has to be listed. The first ingredient has the most and the last has the least amount. So turmeric, which is the last ingredient, has the least amount. And we know that there's less than 1% of turmeric in this because sea salt comes before turmeric. Now, what's really ironic here is that bone broth you give to your dogs or to humans if they have arthritis. That's one reason, because it helps with inflammation. And turmeric also helps with inflammation, but it's the last ingredient and it's less than 1%. So that's a bad thing right there. And why do they even need to add salt? They're adding salt because salt makes food taste better. We all know that. So then the next ingredient is beef flavor. That is a huge red flag. You're selling beef broth and you have to add beef flavor. To me, that means this was not done with any bones. Flavor, that word means that it's an additive. It's either a natural additive or an artificial additive. And both natural and artificial, both can contain up to 200 chemicals. You don't want that. And then there's yeast extract. Now, yeast extract is a huge red flag. That is synonymous with MSG. And again, you can go on my newsletter and I say more about it. But what they're doing now, they're putting in the words yeast extract instead of MSG because yeast extract sounds like it's natural. So they're trying to trick us pet parents that this is a good product, and there's nothing good about yeast extract. And then you have some more natural flavors, and there's nothing natural about natural flavors. So then we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to the Honest Kitchen. I actually remember buying this probably 6 years ago. It was up at the front of the pet store. It was 99 cents for a little container, so I grabbed 5. bought it home, and then I looked at the ingredients, and because, the ingredients looked good, there's not, much bad in there, but look what it has. It has tapioca in there. Now, why are they putting tapioca in there? They're doing that to trick the consumer that this has the gelatinous consistency of bone broth. If it was real bone broth, they would not have to add anything to thickening up. And also tapioca, I don't want my dog having that. There's no nutritional value, and there's just added unnecessary calories. So this is also a no. And then the last one we're going to look at, and then I'm going to give you a recommendation this is again on Chewy. It's called Solid Gold, and it says beef bone broth with turmeric, 100% human grade, yada yada. And let's look at the ingredients. Where are the? Here they are. Bone broth, carrots, sweet potatoes, apple, sesame seed oil, and turmeric. Now, what I don't like about this one is they add too many high starchy, they're all high starchy ingredients. Carrots, sweet potatoes, and apples. I've never heard of putting apples in bone broth. But, the thing is, they're high starchy, high sugar. And AFCO does not require any dog companies to put the amount of carbs or sugar in the ingredients. But this is very high in sugar and carbs. I would much rather see a bone broth that maybe had carrots and broccoli, some greens in there. But carrots and sweet potatoes, you've heard me talk about that when you're making a recipe. You don't want to add both of them. But the real big red flag for me is sesame seed oil. What the heck do you need to add oil to bone broth? I've never heard of that. And to add sesame seed oil is highly processed. It's highly inflammatory. I would never, ever give my dog any seed oils. The only oils that I give my dog are MCT3 oil, extra virgin olive oil, and fish oil. So I don't know why they are putting that in there. Okay, drum roll. What would I recommend? I would recommend Primal bone broth. I actually bought this in a panic when I moved up here at the lake at the beginning of the pandemic, because I ran up here from my primary home and I didn't pack any bone broth. So this is a very good product. Let's look at the ingredients. Let's see, where are they? Why can't I find them? Here they are. Let's read them out loud. It says beef bone broth, filtered water. I've never seen that in any of the ones that I reviewed, so that's excellent. And then everything else is organic. Carrots, butternut squash, apple cider vinegar, which, you need to put that in real bone broth to pull out the marrow. Bok choy, cilantro, ginger, and turmeric. It's exceptional. So I really like this one. The only issue with this Primal one, you're going to find it in the freezer section of your pet food store. And even if you go to like I don't want to say a boutique, but they should carry this or one similar to this, but it's frozen. So my issue with the frozen is, and I've done some research, you should only be given 1 ounce per 10 pounds of your dog's weight twice a day. So if you have a tiny dog and you defrost this, it can only be kept in the refrigerator. I forgot what it was. It was like 5 days or something. If you have a big dog, this would be fine. So if you want to get this and you have a little dog, what I would recommend doing is defrosting the whole thing and pouring them into ice cube trays and stick it in your freezer, and then take it out the night before to let it defrost to give to your dog. But this would be an excellent substitute for not making homemade bone broth. And you know, if you have some time to make homemade bone broth, it's kind of fun, I have to say it. It's like a whole 3-day process, but it's like you just do one thing and then you come back 24 hours later. So you're not monopolizing your time whatsoever. And it's just a very satisfying experience to see the end result. So I hope you have learned something from this video, or if you're reading it on the newsletter. I hope I have inspired you, and I hope I have excited you to start to home cook for your dog. All right, that's it. Take care.